welcome once again to Geek News and Craft Brews, our weekly dive into everything geek culture in the world that matters to us.
Yeah.
And
and millions others.
I'm Steven.
I'm Chris.
And of course, as always, we are joined by the only sidekick more powerful than Superboy. And that's alcohol.
Yes.
Chris, what are you drinking today?
Oh, all right. Today I got something from New Belgium here. This is their Coca Mole. If I'm pronouncing that right. This is from their Lips of Faith series, which is really great if you can have it. They change it every year. And this is a spiced chocolate porter. I grabbed this because we're slated to talk about Convergence today. It's a DC event, yes. And this converged some of my favorite things. Stouts. No, it is a porter. Oh, I like porters more than stouts even. Chocolate and porters. So I'm really excited to see what this year's batch tastes like.
That's a reach as far as
it's a super reach, super big reach. Yeah. Well, I am wearing a Deadpool shirt too, and we will talk about the Deadpool
more
movie.
Themed.
Yeah. Right. How about you, man? What are you drinking?
Let's see. I'm going to start out with Moostrel.
Nice.
It is a brown ale from Big Sky Brewing in Missoula, Montana.
Yeah, nice.
It's one of my favorite beers personally. It's always up there. And then I brought another one of my favorites, Easy Street. This is from a Fort Collins brewery. It's Odell Brewery. It's a wheat beer from there, and it's essentially the opposite of Moostrel, but it's still one of my favorites. So
I really like Odell.
Odell is
a brewery.
Great.
Yeah, they're one of the few breweries that have never disappointed me.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I've gone on their tour like 5 times at this point.
Okay, yeah, that's a good reason. Cool.
All right, so let's just jump into it real quick. First thing we want to talk about is the Daredevil TV show that Netflix is putting out. There was a trailer that was just released that we just watched. And what'd you think about it?
Yeah, well, it looks like they're definitely got the action right. I was a little skeptical about the lead. What's his name? Something Cox. Yeah.
When I first saw him, I thought he looked a little bit like Daniel Radcliffe, the guy who plays Harry Potter.
Yeah, so did I. Well, and I only was aware of him from something that he did when he was younger that I can't even remember right now. So, but actually in the trailer he looked like it was great. Charlie Cox. You didn't see a lot of Kingpin in the trailer.
You do not see a lot of Kingpin.
Yeah, looked like the back of his head. And Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, I would assume.
D'Onofrio. Super accomplished actor. Really good. I know he's been nominated for a lot of stuff in his past roles. You know, I think he was Gomer Pyle, even. If I'm thinking of the right guy. I might screw this up. Again, I'm not an authority on anything.
Yeah.
But I'm really... I think that's a really good casting choice for Kingpin as a villain.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason that we don't see a lot of Kingpin in this is because they're trying to do what Gotham did, which is establish a show as solid enough on its own without including someone like the Joker. Until, like, just recently they released a trailer with the Joker in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're going for that. It's like, we don't need this. It's going to be good on its own. Then when we add him in later, it's going to be even better.
Really? I think they might establish him early on as the overall... well, I say that Netflix, I think they're going to release the first 3 episodes all on April 10th, which is awesome. I love how Netflix does that. You know, that's another reason why I'm excited this is a Netflix show. Also because the level of violence can be appropriate for something as dark as gray as Daredevil. And I don't know, from the looks of it, it looks like a kind of creation story because I didn't really see the Daredevil costume.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention next. The costume they showed, costume in quotation marks, it looks very ragtag and thrown together, and it's not the true Daredevil costume that we've come to know.
Yeah, and he looks young. I wonder if this is going to be like Matt Murdock in law school or what, you know, exactly how they're going to portray that. But it looked pretty exciting. The action sequences that the trailer showed were pretty cool. Yeah. And that's, you know, I mean, that's one of the big reasons that I watch comic book TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about last week that Netflix has the big budget that they can throw around and make all these really cool action scenes. And we've seen recently with the Arrow TV show, Flash, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all those that they can do, like, good comic book action scenes in TV show form.
Yeah, they certainly can. You brought up Gotham when you were talking about it earlier. I think Gotham made a serious mistake with some of their casting calls with villains. That's one of the reasons. That's pretty much my biggest hang up with the show. And actually, not all villains. Pretty much just Fish Mooney. That's just terrible. Completely unbelievable for me. You know, I'm just not a fan of that character. Or I don't think Jada Pinkett Smith is a really good role for a gangster mom. You know,
yeah,
like, it's just kind of weird.
I don't know. We can't be happy with all the.
Can't be happy with everything. So,
and I'm sure there's gonna be someone in here that we're not too happy with, but
sure,
as long as the core is good and the plot is good and action drives the plot, I think we'll all be happy with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope to see Kingpin as just like an overarching character that is maybe Murdoch's not even totally aware of what strings he's pulling for a while. Yeah, it'd be great to see origin stories of, like, you know, Bullseye and stuff like that happening through this. You know, I'm also excited because I'm a big fan of the Punisher, and if Punisher's going to make a cameo in any TV show, in any Marvel production, I imagine it would probably be like a Netflix series.
It would be a Netflix series, and it would be Daredevil.
Yeah, it would be. You know. So I hope that happens. That would be great.
Yeah. But really, I was surprised at how short the preview was for how close we are to release. It was less than 2 minutes. I think it was like 1:45 or something along those lines.
Yeah, not even.
And for how close we are to release, you generally have these big, like, cinematic almost trailers, just trying to get people hyped.
Yeah, you really do. Hopefully we'll see some more, you know?
Yeah.
Some more of a teaser. I mean, does Marvel have anything else really big and screen coming out between now and Daredevil? I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So
everything is summer, really.
Okay, yeah, so I wonder why they're holding back.
Who knows?
Give us more.
We all want more.
Yeah, but, you know, probably before we know it'll be on top of us. And I'm just going to dive right. I know I'm going to watch all 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Back. Yeah, I'm just going to dive right in. I'm so excited. Yeah. I'm glad that they went with Daredevil as this experiment on their TV show. You know,
why is that?
Because he's a fantastic character. He's really is one of those staples in the Marvel Universe, and he doesn't have any really super special powers, you know? Most of the powers that he has as a result of his massive vulnerability, you know, him being blind, of course.
It's just to, like, make up for the blindness.
Yeah, you know, and, well, he was able to overcome that hardship and then, like, persevere even further to take it, you know, use his senses beyond what normal humans can do. And it's cool, you know, and I don't know, I've always liked kind of like the blind swordsman kind of story and anime and Japanese culture and all that kind of stuff, you know, so, and this is kind of a fun American take on that, for sure. Plus, I kind of like the duality of him being a lawyer and then going out and being a vigilante at the same time. You know, I guess. Someone
that's just very much anti-law at night and then pro. Well, he's always for justice. He just has very different ways of carrying it out in night versus day.
Well, I think, you know, I mean, most versions of Daredevil has accepted that there are flaws within the justice system.
And he's experienced them firsthand.
Yeah, he knows exactly. Yeah, that's a real important part of the character there. And, you know, he does something about it, but he still makes sure that, you know, a lot of times he goes out of his way to force criminals to, like, prove their guilt. You know, or he'll like surface up the evidence that was needed, or, you know, get the confession out of them, that kind of a thing. You know, and so, you know, it's not like Batman where he like cripples them. You know, I mean, he like tries to get them. Not that he doesn't kick the shit out of people.
Yeah.
But you know, he's trying to get them into jail. That's kind of his deal. You know, get the trial that they should have had, you know, or whatnot.
Yeah, but moving on to another Marvel project that's Marvel, not Marvel Cinema, because Fox still owns it.
Fox still owns it, yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool movie. We've seen the, what do they call it, test footage a while back.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the test footage, you should watch it. It's good.
Yeah, it's all CGI'd stuff, but it does have Ryan Reynolds' voice as Deadpool, and it was kind of like this played out scene from the movie that may or may not have happened at that point. But since then, the movie has been confirmed. It has, I think, set a date.
I know it's in 2016. I'm not sure
2016.
Exactly when.
So they're releasing casting, they're doing all this stuff, and we're gonna get a Deadpool movie.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Where they didn't show his mouth shut because that was stupid.
Yeah, yeah. Technically, Deadpool's been Wade Wilson,
and then the Abomination.
Yeah, was in was it X-Men Origins?
Wolverine
Origins. Yeah, yeah. And there were a couple scenes where, you know, when it was still Ryan Reynolds. He nailed it. It was great, you know.
Specifically the scene where they're charging into some enemy fortress, and there's a bunch of guys with guns all over. He comes in with the swords. He's like deflecting bullets all over the place, slicing people's throat, and then at the very end, he's like, "Okay, people are dead."
Yeah, come on. Yeah, and his banter before it, like in that elevator, was fantastic. Yeah, you know.
So
good.
People have a lot of issues with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I don't see it. I think he worked from a horrible, horrible script in Wolverine Origins. They did not understand the character or any of the characters.
That was clear.
Him, Gambit, they just severely fucked up.
Yeah, that was not
just like good. All those characters, they had no representation of who they were, but Ryan Reynolds was not the problem.
No, not at all. I think Ryan Reynolds got a lot of flack too for Green Lantern, but again, he wasn't the problem with Green Lantern. You know,
I'm less willing to give him a pass on that one because he wasn't as good.
Well, yeah, but you know, I mean, he was trying to still be Ryan Reynolds. I think. I guess that was kind of the issue. Yeah, with Green Lantern,
but he fully embraced the Deadpool character. I thought
fantastic. Yeah, at least the test footage that we saw, and I think he really wants to make this, you know, because he did really well in that Blade movie he was in. You know, he's been in a couple comic book movies. It was great. That was a fun character. That character kind of made the movie for me, actually. Who else? There's like a Jessica Biel was in that too. That was fun. But yeah, it certainly wasn't Wesley Snipes. Not that one. Mm-hmm. And I think he is accomplished. I think he's talented, you know? And I really think that he'll do justice to Deadpool. I can't really think of too many other actors who have the physique, the action experience, and the wit.
The wit, the comedy, just insanity almost of a Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and the best Deadpools are... He's crazy witty. You know, the one-liners just, they don't stop. They're all over the place. Yeah. You know, I was going to talk a little bit about how Deadpool as a character has just, like, blown up in popularity. Mm-hmm. Why that is. Most people are pretty familiar with who he is and what he is. I hope they don't go, like, too crazy into his origin story in this one.
Yeah.
In this movie.
The most successful...
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the most successful comics, they don't really go into his origin at all. They're like, he was in the testing for the Weapon X project. Yeah. It messed with like the cancer he already had. He became like super healing factor. That's it. Move on.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's hope that's all they do with it. You know, even if they even approach it at all. some of the casting choices that they are announcing, though, because they've announced like 2 or 3 this past week that are really starting to be like, what is happening here? One of them was for the character Angel Dust, and I forget the actress's name, but I guess she's also like an MMA fighter, so that's pretty badass.
Yeah, like actually well-renowned MMA fighter. Like, not just, hey, I do this as a side thing. It's like, she's the real deal.
Yeah, she really is. And I'm sorry I'm unprepared and don't have her name in front of me here. But yeah, that's going to be cool. And the character Angel Dust, though, is a really strange one. It's a mutant, of course, because it's a Fox movie. And they have
that's all the rights they have.
That's all the rights they have. And I think it's some strange throwback from a Morlock storyline where she essentially has like control of her adrenal factor and can get like much faster and stronger and get pumped up with adrenaline, kind of like the effects of smoking PCP, aka Angel Dust. Really creative name, whoever came up with the character. You know, but
it doesn't seem like a modern superhero type thing. It seems like one of those like,
oh yeah, it's definitely something like, what are you doing? You know, something wacky in the 90s or whatever. But pretty funny. You know, I can't wait to see how Deadpool reacts when he finds out her name, or if they even approach that, or
I'm imagining
what her role is in that.
I'm imagining her throwing around Deadpool a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that will happen. Well, I imagine Deadpool will get his ass kicked all over the place in this film.
Oh yeah, because that's what Deadpool does.
That's what happens, yeah.
Deadpool's not a great fighter. He just has
this
stupid healing factor that you can like cut off all but his head, and he's like, oh, well, I'll just grow back in a couple hours, then I'm going to come fight you again.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's even a couple of versions, comics I've read, where he's essentially been like vaporized, head's blown up, all that, and he comes back. You know, crazy.
Then delivers a one-liner.
Yeah, he's delivering a great one-liner while doing it. He also is great at breaking the fourth wall, so that's going to be fun to see that. I wonder, and a lot of times audiences don't react to that well, but I think it would be great if he makes fun of the audience for like paying to go see a Deadpool movie or something like that. You know,
yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
They released a Deadpool video game last year.
Yeah, I played that.
Yeah, it did very well. It
was fun.
100% captured the style of Deadpool.
It really did, especially the early, like the 2000s and late 90s Deadpool. You know, I love the stuff where he's doing it with Cable and all that. They're great interactions. Yeah.
But he's
very fun. I thought the voice acting choices on that were a little dumb. You know, yeah, a little too much. But that was my only complaint with the game, other than the button mashing aspect of it.
Yeah, the game itself was okay, but the Deadpool humor was on point. It was constant one-liners. It was breaking the fourth wall. It was looking straight into the camera and saying, "Well, that was fun. How about you press this button and we can do it again?"
Right, exactly. It was a game. It was one of the last games that I played strictly for the cutscenes. You know, like I had to see what happened next. It was fantastic in that sense. Very fun. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with this movie. I wonder if we're going to have like AIM in there, because they can't have Hydra.
They can't have Hydra. They can't have a lot of organizations that Deadpool's fought recently. Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that it's a popular movie and that there's enough fan outcry to bring Deadpool into the rest of the MCU and actually the rest of the mutants. You know, there's no reason why they can't work together. And Deadpool has a lot of ties with Captain America. You know?
Yeah. I mean, in the most recent story arc for Marvel, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Captain America go to North Korea.
Yeah.
To save a bunch of kind of like mutant experiment type things.
Yeah. They've like mashed up other mutants' DNA with Deadpool's DNA to like recreate Colossus and Wolverine and all the Nightcrawler and all those, but poor North Korean citizens as the subjects for all of this. Yeah. So it's pretty messed up. Actually, it's a pretty messed up book, you know, in a lot of ways, but it's a great read. In this latest series of Deadpool, which has been fun, and I guess we're talking about Deadpool dying in the comics here.
How?
The death of Deadpool. It doesn't matter. He's not going to stay dead.
No one ever stays
No
dead.
one ever stays dead in the comics.
I feel like Deadpool would be one of those where it's like the death of Deadpool, then the next month it'd be like, hey, Deadpool's back. Just like not even keep him dead at all.
Yeah, they might do that with Deadpool.
Because it seems a very Deadpool thing to do.
Yeah, and he makes fun of other comic story arcs and other comic book, his book will poke fun at those, and a lot of his covers and stuff are poking fun at like variant programs that DC is doing and that kind of stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they just treat it completely like how the death ofs are in the comic book world. Ever since Death of Superman, everyone knows this now. No one stays dead.
Yeah,
Captain America didn't stay dead. Thor's not going to stay dead. You know.
And with the death of Wolverine just happening, I would say that it's probable, if not likely, that it's going to be a kind of joke.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. The death ofs, I mean, it's kind of one of those gimmicks, I'll say, that the big publishers and comic books do that is pretty played out. You know.
It still sells, though, is the issue, because people are... I don't know if they're not getting that it's a gimmick, or... I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, what it is super casual readers will hear about it on like the internet or a news story or something like that, and then they'll want to check out that issue. So I don't mind that it brings new people to the audience, new audience, there. But a lot of them are there just because they think that the book will be worth something down the road. And let me tell you, like the Death of Superman, that's one of the most worthless comics out there. It really, I mean, it's for out of all the comics printed in the 90s, it's worth about the paper it's printed on.
It was so hyped up, and they had these special, like, packaged copies that you can get. And, like, it was all this huge deal, and then, what, a year later, they brought him back?
It wasn't even that long, actually. I don't think it was even a full year. I actually think that the comic where he comes back is worth more than the one where he dies. I want to say someone told me that. That could be wrong, but still. I wouldn't. I'm sure that there were less issues printed.
Because people were so mad that he came back, they didn't buy it.
I just think that it kind of, the comic sales peaked up real high, and it blew it out of the water. Like, it changed the industry in a lot of ways. And, but then it, it valued back down, and there's just no way that they're going to print, keep printing how many, 2 million copies that they're going to do for an issue, 4-5 months down the road. I think it was probably about 6 months or so.
That's still way too soon.
No, actually, no. I'm trying to remember because a lot of other Supermen came back. I don't want to get into Death of Superman. Actually, that's not on our agenda here because it's. But yeah, the point is, it's a gimmick, and like you were saying, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Deadpool treats it exactly how it is.
Yeah,
whatever.
Just in first page of the next book is like, ha, sucker, you bought that book.
Yeah.
Why would I die?
Yeah.
They make so much money off it.
Well, not to get into Marvel Comics too much, but it might tie into the whole Secret Wars thing that they're doing. Apparently, the Marvel Universe is going to end again or be restructured. We'll get into that in another podcast because there's a lot of that going on lately.
in the upcoming weeks, we'll talk about all that kind of stuff.
I heard that, speaking of going back to the movie, that there is actually going to be Colossus in there.
Yes.
And there's a little bit of, controversy about that, because apparently the actors played Colossus in prior movies. It was like, well, no one told me. Be like, ooh. Maybe you're not playing the role there, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with switching up casts.
Of course. Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem with that. And he hasn't had a super prominent role in the past movies.
No.
He
was part of the fastball special, and that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah. I don't know. What did you think of the past couple X-Men movies? How do you think Fox is doing with all that?
I haven't liked a lot of them, but I seem to be in the minority in that.
I thought the last two were pretty good.
Last two being Days of Future Past and what was the other one?
There's the one, maybe that was the one I was thinking of, X-Men Origins, where, like, you see young Magneto and, like, the first team and everything.
What was First Class is what that was.
That's what it was, First Class.
Yeah, I didn't like First Class just because chronologically, when you put it in place with the other movies, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, but as a movie, it was alright.
If you treat it as a standalone movie, it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
If you treat it as part of a series, it makes no sense and is stupid.
You know, one of the things that has always disappointed me, that has consistently disappointed me in the X-Men movies, is how they write Magneto. Not the actors that play Magneto. Mm-hmm. They nail it. They do a great job. But, man, do they not understand his power, or the extent of his power that has been, you know, portrayed in some of the books.
The new Magneto book is devastating when it comes to his powers.
Oh, yeah. And his mentality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You believe that guy survived a concentration camp in his youth. You know, that kind of thing.
And First Class was the only movie I saw that kind of got into that aspect of him.
Yeah, because, I mean, that was the one that had, like, Shaw and the Hellfire Club and all that, right? Yeah. Yeah, but there were still aspects of that, you know, where, like, dude, if you can, like, twist a giant, you know, satellite dish that's like a mile and a half away or whatever it was, like, you know, you could just crush that submarine, you know, if that's what you want to do. Done. You know. You know,
I win again.
Yeah, and that was the issue I had again in how they portrayed Magneto and the excuse why he was even arrested. You know, I was trying to stop the bullet. You know, like, well, where were you? You know, were you, like, watching it on TV? Then I'd understand that you were only able to curve the bullet. You know, but if you were anywhere near, if you were in eyesight of that assassination attempt, how could you not stop that bullet? That's ridiculous. Yeah.
You stop it with no problem whatsoever.
No problem.
You stop it with one finger while, like, having a conversation with someone else.
Yeah. At that point in his power, he wouldn't have to even think about it. So they didn't get into that, of course. But there were some other aspects about that where, you know, you can raise a entire, like, stadium. Mm-hmm. You know, how come you weren't kind of displaying some of this level of power in previous attempts? So yeah, hopefully, if they do any more movies with Magneto, that they do that better with him.
Yep.
Yeah, Fox. Well, they won't, though, because the next one's Apocalypse. I mean, we're talking too much about Fox's movies.
Right, so,
we'll save that for another podcast.
Next thing we wanted to talk about was the general role of women in comics. This was brought up because in the past couple weeks, there was a letter sent to DC Comics from a 11-year-old girl named Rowan. In this letter, she says that essentially, there's a lot of great characters in the DC universe that are women that aren't getting their due justice. Talking specifically about Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, Catwoman, and you don't see them anywhere. You have a...
Oh, yeah, she's talking about these Justice League Chibis toys that she got.
Yeah.
There's only 2 girl Chibis?
Only 2 girl Chibis, 10 boys. Also, the backgrounds for the girl figures are all pink and purple.
Ha! I like this Rowan girl.
Yeah, she lays into DC in this letter. I'll post it on the Facebook page so you can check it out in full. But she specifically wants the Wonder Woman movie to happen. She says that Marvel has made a movie about a talking raccoon in a tree.
Yeah.
And you have not made the Wonder Woman movie yet.
Well, you know, out of all the publishers out there in comic books, DC, they're not the worst, but they're one of them. And as being like one of the big 2, that's not that cool.
Yeah.
You know, and by the worst, it's, you look at number of female characters that are, you know, have their own titles. You look at number of female creators that you're employing That's an important part. And yeah, I don't know the percentages. I know that Avatar was at 0, or Xenoscope I think was also no. Xenoscope was low, but they still actually had a couple of female artists, I believe. And Boom Studios, I remember from that article, is #1 at like whopping like 30% of their female.
Whopping.
Like of their creative team,
Yeah.
females. And this article that I was reading was only talking about creators. But as far as the comics go, DC is just screwed up in a couple of ways, you know?
Yeah, they don't have many, and they're canceling the ones that they do.
Yeah.
Batwoman's going away. I think Batgirl might be going away as well.
There was some pretty decent controversy with Batwoman. For those of you who don't know, Batwoman is a homosexual, right?
Yeah.
And so, in that character, they were writing her trying to get married to her girlfriend at one point. And DC scrapped that story. And it ended up, they ended up switching out the whole creative team after that, too. Yeah.
Marvel did a gay marriage years ago.
Yeah.
To the X-Men. I don't remember who.
I read a comic where, like, Wolverine, it was like a what if kind of a thing, but I think Wolverine and Colossus were lovers. You know? Yeah.
Different kind of fastball special.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyways, off topic. Yeah, DC is always caught a lot of flack for this.
Sure. And I'll straight up say, though, I mean, in this new 52 run that they've done, Wonder Woman's been great. Better than she's ever been before.
Yeah.
So they've made some strides. You know?
Some, yes.
Some. But they've missed out on some other things. There's a fun website that's like how many days till DC does something stupid.
How many days since DC has fucked up, I believe.
Cool. Yeah.
Something along
That's a
those
better
lines.
title.
And I think the record's like 80 days.
Yeah.
It's way too low.
Yeah, one of the ones that I saw that was just so stupid was like it was a picture of Superman kissing Wonder Woman. It was that iconic first kiss and a deal, and they put it on a T-shirt, and then the T-shirt caption below said like, "Superman does it again," kind of a thing. Be like, isn't that more of a win for Wonder? I mean, what's going on with this? You know, come on, DC.
Oh, DC.
You chauvinist assholes.
But not to let Marvel off too easily, you had some issues with the new Silk comic that came out.
I did have some issues with the new
For those
Silk.
you don't know, Silk is a fairly new character in the Marvel Universe. It's a woman that was bit by the same bug, or the same spider that bit Peter Parker. Correct?
Right. Yep.
But she was kept in a essentially experimental facility for most of her life since then, and she was super strong because of it, and also super pissed off at the people that kept her there. So in the Spider-Man comic of last year, he goes in and frees her from this, and essentially since then, she's been kicking his butt around the town.
Yeah,
like just dominating the scene and being incredibly powerful and awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in the Amazing Spider-Man, and it was a character that I think Dan Slott came up with. I'm pretty sure he was the author. And yeah, you got it right, pretty much nailed it right on the head there. You know, Silk came out as a really bad. She's an Asian girl who has better spider sense, more acute spider sense than Peter Parker, like way better, and is far more agile and just about as strong, it seems, and can produce her own webbing.
Yeah.
Right? Which is how she makes her costumes, and she's like can spin all sorts of crazy stuff like shields and you know, little daggers, all sorts of things like that that she was doing. So she's kind of like this crazy, like little spider ninja girl. She's awesome. You know, she's so badass. And like she took no shit from anybody.
Yeah.
She gave zero fucks what anyone thought about her, and went up against, in her very first storyline that she was introduced, these like interdimensional vampires who have essentially imprisoned thousands of worlds and killed thousands of versions of Spider-Man and other superheroes and all sorts of stuff like that. Which she was hiding from them. That's why she was in this bunker, apparently. And, yeah, she goes up against this, like, you know, interdimensional threat villain.
Spider Hunter.
Yeah.
Just
total
badass.
Yeah, super strong characters. Villains. Super strong villains. And does a really good job holding her own. You know, no problem, right? So this is the Silk that we've been reading, okay? And I read Silk #1 that came out yesterday, and I should have brought it with me, but I forget the author's name. I was pissed off. I was angry after reading the comic book. You know, how did that happen? You know, like on page 3, she gets saved by Spider-Man from some fucking C-class, not even like D-class villain. D-class villain, right? What? What the hell?
The D-class villain, like, kicks her off the side of the building.
She gets distracted, yeah.
Like, she forgets how to shoot webs or something, and Spider-Man has to swing in and, like, catch her and save her.
Yeah, all of a sudden she can't... What the hell? Yeah, that was ridiculous. Yeah, and he gets away, you know? It was so bad. And just the way they set up the character, it essentially, I mean, she's working for J. Jonah Jameson, you know? She has some family issues, I guess, that she's looking for her old family. But the way the villain was being set up, her first major super nemesis is someone that she embarrassed, who's going to be revamped up. So it's essentially like the exact same story as like Scorpion or Electro or any of that. And is working for Black Cat. And I'm like, holy fuck, I don't want to read Peter Parker with tits. I want Silk. You know, like, what are you doing? You know, I've already read these story arcs. This is exactly what happened to Peter Parker. You know, in several ways. Like, come on, what the fuck?
Like, you Silk know, and was so much better than Peter Parker.
Yeah, why is she being saved by Spider-Man? Why was that necessary? You know, come on.
Like, it should be the other way around, if anything. Like, she swings in and saves Peter Parker.
Exactly. That's how you write that issue. Oh my gosh.
It just starts out with, like, Peter Parker, and you're like, oh, why is this? And then Silk comes in and saves him, and, like, catches the villain.
I also take issue with this, and I've taken issue with this with a couple of other things with Marvel. Marvel's female-centric art is very campy, cartoony style. Mostly. The one that's least in that aspect is Miss Marvel.
Okay.
Right? Well, probably actually like Captain Marvel and stuff, which has fairly, you know, actual, traditional, more stylized action sequences. But, you know, Miss Marvel has good art, you know, and it fits her character fine. The undefeatable Squirrel Girl, which is just a silly, campy character, has silly, campy art.
Yeah, and that fits. That's fine.
Fine.
Though she does, like, beat Galactus in one of them, which I find hilarious.
Yeah, well...
But it's not a book to be taken seriously.
Yeah. She's fun, and that's a fun book. That's where Marvel's doing good with as far as female leads are concerned. You know, I mean, it's a book not to be taken seriously. But in this one, the art looked kind of just juvenile to me. Like, it was the target audience was very juvenile, you know, and maybe that's what you were going for, but I didn't like it. I think it took away from the action, and it also made her very round-eyed. And I was like a little annoyed. I'm like, oh, what was wrong with Silk being Asian? It fits. Her name's Silk. She calls herself Silk. You know, it's awesome. She's so badass, and you just kind of fucked it up, man. I was way angry about this yesterday. I've had some time to calm down. You know, Steven saw me yesterday. I was freaking out about it.
Yeah, he was not happy.
I was so mad. I was swearing and throwing the comic around. I was pretty pissed off. Yeah.
As soon as I came in the store, he's like, "I need to show you this." Just like grabbed the comic, like flipped over, and was like, "This is where,
Look at
this is where Spider-Man saves her. Why is he saving her?"
What the hell is this? Oh, so stupid.
Oh god. But yeah, women in comics. There's not much being done on the two big name companies, but
well, I would say that Marvel has some good stuff. The She-Hulk run has ended, but it's a good run. Miss Marvel's is a good book. It's fun. It's a fun book. It's not as serious. But I guess when I say that and I compare it to all the titles that they have, that is kind of weak sauce Marvel.
But the independent companies, especially Image,
oh my gosh,
in my mind, have been doing very well with the strong female leads.
I completely agree. Yeah, I have become, in this past 2 years, a major fan of Image. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of everything they put out, but they, as far as this is concerned, and doing strong female leads, they've nailed it, and really good creators too. Shudder comes to mind.
Yes,
that's a great one.
Kind of a Laura Croft type thing, but in a more fantasy-based world.
Yeah, it's crazy world. Yeah, I like to tell people it's like Laura Croft on a fantastic acid trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a pretty accurate description of Shudder. And the artist is really good too. That's one of the, and she's a female artist, Leila Del Duccia, that I'm probably getting her name wrong. I'm very sorry. But your art is superb. Let's see, Fiona Staples with Saga.
The Saga.
Yeah, which is a huge book. Highly recommend Saga.
4 out of the top 10 top selling trades of the year were Saga.
Yeah.
Won every single award ever at the
yeah, it's just cleaned up. It's so
most well regarded book out there, and it's got a strong female lead in it as well.
And I tell you what, some of the Fiona Staples has got a lot of recognition for her art, and she's doing a lot of variant covers. And she and her variant covers are getting a lot of attention too. There's value behind her name now, which is great. Jesus, one of the ones that I can think of is the new Thor, which Marvel's doing a great job. That's how I wanted to see Silk.
But we still don't know who it is.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of controversy around this, right? Because the whole deal with Thor being a woman. And for everyone who's hating on that, you need to grow the fuck up. I'll tell you right now, okay? And you need to read more comics, because Thor's been a fucking frog before, okay? Get over it. Holy shit. And they're treating, and here's how they're getting away with this, all right? Thor is a title in the Marvel Universe. Whoever can wield Mjolnir, that magical hammer, who's ever worthy enough to wield Mjolnir, is bestowed
wield
the title
the power of Thor.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thor, as we know it, became unworthy.
Yeah, and Odin's son.
Someone needed to come up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a frog.
It wasn't a frog.
This time.
It was a lady, on the moon, all right? And that's all we know. We know she's from Earth, and she was on the moon, because that's where Mjolnir was. And that's it. That's all we know. And that comic is doing fantastic. And it's really well written. The art's great. Oh my gosh, you know what else is really good along those same lines? Angela.
Yes, Agent of Asgard.
No. It's that's the Loki Agent of Asgard. I think she's the Assassin of Asgard.
Assassin of Asgard, even
better.
Something
like that, maybe. But the new Angela, which is really weird because it's a Neil Gaiman character from Image Comics and Spawn, who's a really strong female character, an angel who was the demon hunter. And between some legal conflicts, that character popped into the Marvel Universe. Rode with the Guardians of the Galaxy for a while with Gamora, another strong female character. They had actually some really cool fights and then became really good friends. Their interactions are pretty cool. And ends up that in the Marvel comic book universe there, she is Thor's and Loki's, or Odin's son and Loki's long lost older sister.
Huh. Just to kind of like tie it in with them, or
I mean, she's of Odin's blood. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, to tie it into how she fits into the universe and everything, and did a good job. And so they in the comic has been great because she starts off kidnapping. She does not like Asgardians, by the way. Yeah, she pretty much hates them. Doesn't like a lot of people. She's a real bitch, honestly. You know, I mean, she's strong, fantastic read, great character, but like no one you'd want to hang out with, probably. And she in this comic run is great. She kidnaps the latest born of Odin and Freya, you know, so like the newest child of Asgard, the heir of Asgard, is like hijacked, you know, Thor and all the Odin's son, and you know all that band of Asgardians are chasing her. It's fun, yeah. Man, I steered us off of a tangent here. We were talking more about Image Comics, though.
We were talking about Image.
And what they're doing.
But we are talking about women in comics and trying to find those strong female leads, so it wasn't too much of a tangent. We going to talk about Convergence today, or are we going to save that for another day?
You know what? I honestly think that we should just lump in Convergence and Secret War with Marvel into one podcast.
Alright, so that will be coming soon. Universe is collapsing in both DC and Marvel Universe. Yeah,
speaking of fun, awesome gimmicks that I'm probably going to buy way too much of.
It's like a 2-month and a 5-month story arc, but that's for another day.
We'll talk about that later, because there's a lot of really good stuff in women in comics, and honestly, women in geek culture. You know, this is kind of, and I was surprised to find that this was a hotbed topic when there were people bitching about fake geek girls. Like, what does that even mean? How could... What? You know? That's a very strange thing to do. As if, like, because someone has tits, they can't like Doctor Who or comics or, you know, whatever. Or Star Trek or Aliens or any of that stuff, you know? Or video games. That's where I was seeing a lot of it within the video game. The
gamer girl.
Yeah, the fake gamer girl. Be it all that. It'll be like, check it out, guys. First off, no girl is trying to be a gamer or getting into any of this shit because she wants to get your attention. Zero have done that. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I can't even believe that that's a mentality. That's just ridiculous, all right?
It's really egotistical, too.
It's super egotistical, you know? And it's not like a boys' club either. You know, granted, in the 50s and 60s and even way into the 70s and 80s, I'd say with science fiction in general has been very much a boys' club. In geeky in general, you know? And oh my gosh, you did not want to be a geek in that time frame. That wasn't a great thing to be. You know, it's not like it's not at all like it is now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's becoming much more accepted now.
Way more accepted because they're great stories, and that's what it is. People love awesome stories. You know.
Yeah.
And that's what science fiction and fantasy provides. Fantastic stories. And at any rate, the whole and here's another thing is that why. Especially you young men, would you possibly discount any young ladies that are interested in something that you're interested in? That's a silly thing to do, guys. You know, like it's those common interests that make relationships work. Okay?
It's a lesson for you.
It's a lesson for you. It's just stupid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to like give them more fuel to the fire. You know, I don't want to even validate them by talking about it. But any girl out there who's been called a fake geek girl because you're a fan of an episode or something, and maybe you didn't know the specifics of a comic book or a game or whatever the hell. Just ignore that shit.
Yeah,
you know, just
we don't even
doing
know
what
specifics of anything.
No, oh my gosh. It's impossible. Anybody who says they do, they're full of shit. There's too much of it out there. Yeah. I've tried. It's not possible.
But anyways, the last thing we wanted to talk about today is the mayor of Buffalo has started a video game design contest. That's really interesting, actually. He has challenged people to make a game that will teach life skills and employable skills that lead to a meaningful employment, highlight the importance of diversity in society and in the workplace, develop a video game that educates and is fun to play while promoting the city of Buffalo.
Of course.
Create an electronic game that can be played on multiple platforms. This is something that caught my eye because it's sort of like The Sims, where it's this life simulation, but it actually has a practical purpose. It's teaching you stuff that can be used in your life, and it kind of relates to the topic of video games and education, which is something that I've always been really passionate about, and I've always wanted to see done a lot better. Because games are so engaging in such a just awesome medium that you get so just spend countless hours on, that if they have a practical purpose and they have usefulness to them, that's going to make them a invaluable tool.
I agree. I have heard some crazy statistics about how, like, if you could apply the number of man hours that humans apply to gaming towards solving different types of problems, it would be astronomical. Like we would solve problems like burnt, done.
Yeah.
AIDS cured, cancer gone, done, cured. You know?
But,
my God. By the way, the cure all is preventative medicine. We do know the answer.
But people spend so much time on these because they get hooked into this experience and being something that they're not, and just kind of taking a break from this world and going into this like fun, fantastical place that they can adventure in.
I would say that different games provide different experiences. For sure,
very much.
And and it's one of those super unique mediums. Well, like any other medium, where they'll cater to those specific experiences you're looking for. But games are unique in the fact that they're much more interactive.
Yes.
A medium.
Yes. As opposed to like TV or movies.
Or music, or you know, books or anything. You know, far more interactive, and they, because of that, there's a lot of like instant gratification or instant rewards, and you know, I mean, that's how that whole freemium gaming kind of works off.
Yeah,
you know? and not just them, but even if you play any role playing games or RPGs or
experience leveling,
all
achievements
that.
are
achievements, all that. Yeah,
things that
shooters,
get you to,
all that. I mean, that has become part of everything.
Yeah, and it's things that get you to keep playing the game and to keep advancing on, and
it's goal accomplishment.
It's goal accomplishment, and if you can use that for something positive, you're gonna want to do it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what they decide to do with this game, like what they consider to be life and employable skills.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, what? Do you get like points for doing the dishes? You know, or something like not kowtowing to your boss, maybe. You know, like does that or you spoke up too much, fired, burnt.
Yeah,
you know?
It'll be interesting to see because they have offered a little bit of prize money for both like the top 3 get somewhere between like $500 and $1,500, and the winner gets like $5,000, and it seems to be that they will release this game out to the public at some point in the future, though they haven't had any concrete plans to do so.
You know, they really could do a lot with stuff like just resume writing and interviewing. There's just as an employer or a manager over the past couple of years, holy cow, I've seen so many shitty resumes, and people have no idea how to sell themselves. You know, so that's a very employable skill. That's like the most employable skill.
It's just can you put that into a video game form that's fun and like gets people actively involved in it?
Yeah.
Which is
I imagine that if you fail at this game, you're just going to stop playing. So like maybe the only people who are good at life, making, not stupid decisions or whatever, are gonna do well at this game. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, we should touch again on this after they release it in a couple of months afterwards.
Just to see what the kind of progress on that is, because
yeah, exactly. Because I would take I'll be very critical if they decide that like having the most money paying job, the highest salary, if that's part of what they view as winning or successcll,
as opposed to like personal fulfillment. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, I'm much more of I know I'm of the minority here in America. I mean, this is the cult of capitalism that we were all born into, and it's hard to identify it when you are born into it. I didn't really start to see and think about it until like I left the country a couple of times and was able to see other circumstances and get other perspectives, which I recommend anybody to do. Maybe you have the means. Some of the times, actually, the times of my life where I was making the most money was also the times of my life where I was pretty unhappy as a person. Like I did not have a lot of free time, and the free time that I had, I spent a lot of it with way too much booze. Not good tasting beer, shit like Jaeger. Like it was not a happy chapter in Chris's life. And then I just I eventually came to the conclusion that time is far more important to me, especially after you start researching money and what money is, and how you're like, oh wait, Federal Reserve, wait, there's no gold standard. Just these old fucking bankers just make all this shit up and we all buy into it? What the fuck?
It's money as a concept is a bit strange in the current time. Yeah.
But well, I mean, the current concepts of money is just very strange. It's so esoteric. It's literally like just digits in someone's computer somewhere. That's all it is. So I have a hard time encouraging people to pursue money over things like quality time with your family and your friends. Nobody sits on their deathbed and is like, oh, I wish I worked more and made more money. I want to take my Corvette to heaven with me or whatever. Like that. Then that's never happened. All you have to do is Google #1 deathbed regrets. You'll figure out, what you should not do with your life.
But I think this game will be interesting. We'll definitely keep tabs on it and let you know how it turns out, what happens, and ultimately who won the contest and with what product they won with.
I'm also interested in this point here. They're talking about diversity in society and the workplace, because that is very important, I feel. Getting different perspectives and everything. So, this might be very awesome. We'll see.
Yeah. But, of course, if you want to keep up to date with any of the topics we talked about, if you want to see the full letter from Rowan, any updates we have day to day, check out our Facebook page. That's at Geek News and Craft Brews on Facebook. We will also be uploading this all on YouTube, followed by a bonus video on Saturday and highlights throughout the week. We are a podcast on iTunes as well.
Yeah, we're official.
Yeah, we're official. We are now on iTunes. It took forever to get approval for some reason. Maybe they don't like Craft Brews. I don't know.
They probably looked into my past.
But now we are up and running. Friday, this will come up on iTunes, the podcast. If you're listening to it, it's already up there. And we are also on Twitter.
So, sweet. Look at that.
We are everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Can't escape it. Yeah. Thanks a lot also everyone who, because I've had fantastic reception from everybody who's listened to it, and a lot more people it's reached than I expected. So thanks everybody.
We
appreciate
hope the
it.
community grows.
Yeah.
Keep nerdy, geeky, keep drinking good beer.
Yeah. If you agree with anything we're saying, share it with your friends, you know? If you disagree, flame us in the comments.
Yeah. But before we leave, we must raise a glass to something we feel is important.
Oh, yeah, something that we talked about today. Ooh, right.
Do you have anything, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go ahead if you have something. Yeah.
All right, yes. I just feel like this is a major issue and something that needs to be addressed. So I'll raise a glass to strong female leads in comic books, movies, culture, just real people, fake people, anything where there's a strong female lead. You, unfortunately, are few and far between, and we need to respect that you are there. So we'll raise a glass to you today.
Definitely. To all the female creators out there.
Absolutely.
Thank you for everything you do. And keep at it.
Yeah.
What will I raise a glass to today? You know what? I am really pleased that I'm seeing some of my favorite characters being brought onto formats that are not at all censored.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with free speech and open creativity. You know, here's to everyone who can tolerate the word fuck and a little blood and sex. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for making stories real and awesome.
Yes, thank you indeed.
That's our hour. Wow.
Yeah, that's our hour.
We
It
did
always
it.
goes by so quickly. There's always more news for us, so we will always be back next week. Until then, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks. Please support Craft Brews. Thank you.